Hey guys, what's up? It's Jamie. Today I want to talk about a really cool concept. It's Firebase Cloud Functions. And today we're going to be building like a Hello World application in Firebase Functions. And then I'll be talking about like what Firebase Functions can do and why it's so powerful and why you should integrate it into your app. Alright, so we're just going to be starting out on the command line here, generating a new project. ng new ff hello world. Alright, so it's finished generating the project. Oh, and if this is confusing to you guys and you're not sure what I'm doing, be sure to check out my video on how to get started with Angular, and then that'll explain what exactly I'm doing. So we have a new project, so I'm going to open that project in VS Code. Okay, now I'm going to quickly install Firebase and Angular Fire 2. Alright, now I'm going to add a new project at console.firebase.google.com. So this one's just going to be called the same thing, ff hello world. Alright, so we'll create that. Okay, now I'm going to click on this icon here, add it to your web app. And then I'm just going to copy this config and then go over to my module file and paste that config in here. Okay, now I need to import some modules, so I'm going to grab the Angular Fire module, and I'm going to grab the Angular Fire Store module. Okay, next I'm going to add those to the imports, so I'm going to initialize the app with the config, and then I'm going to also add to the imports the Angular Fire Store module. Okay, so now I have Angular Fire Store all set up, so let's test to make sure that works. So I'm going to run the server, ng serve. Okay, so it's running on localhost 4200, so I'm going to go in the browser and go to localhost 4200. And here's our app. So this is just the default template. So now I'm going to go and delete that template code and simply add a button, which we're going to use to trigger a cloud function. So button, and then on click, it's going to call go. So there's going to be a function go in our TypeScript. We'll declare that in a second. Okay, so we have a button called go, and then inside of the app component TS, we don't need that variable. All we need is our function called go. So go, and then here we're first just going to print log to the console on the front end. So console.log go. So let's make sure that works. There's our button. We click it and it logs go. So that number is going up over there. Alright, next we need a constructor, and that's just so that we can import Angular Firestore and inject it like this. Private, so I'm going to mark this as private so I can access it anywhere. Namely, instead of go, I'm just going to simply grab the database and add to a collection of objects. Say this.db.collection, and then the name of the collection I'm going to create is going to be like items, really generic, dot add, and then it's just going to be maybe it'll just have like the date. So new date. This won't even be in UTC time. We're just adding a date to our collection of items. Great. So every time we click go, it should add something to the collection of items. Okay, so now we're going to get to the cloud functions part. Alright, so now I need to stop the server and run Firebase init. And this is just so that I can tell Firebase what would I like to use. And in that case, that's Firestore and functions. So Firestore is the database, and functions is what's going to happen when we write to the database. We're going to trigger some event to happen. Okay, and this is the Hello World project, so I'll choose that one. The defaults are fine for these steps. I want to use TypeScript, and I don't like tslint, and I want to install the dependencies now. Alright, so that's all done. Also, if that command didn't work for you, make sure you have the Firebase tools installed, and that's just you run npm install -g firebase -tools. And you'll also, if you haven't logged in before, you'll need to run Firebase login, so like this. But I'm already logged in, so. Alright, so now we have this folder called functions in our ff hello world directory. Oh, by the way, you'll notice that this node modules is added to the source control, so you don't really want that. So you want to go into your git ignore file and make sure you add /functions /node_modules. Yeah, you want to do that so that it doesn't track the node modules, because they get really big and you don't want to like sync them between project members, because they can be generated simply from the package.json, which holds all of the dependencies. Anyway, kind of a tangent, but make sure you add that to your git ignore file. Okay, so where the real meat and potatoes of this project is going to be inside of source index.ts, and that's inside of functions. Okay. Alright, so our code is going to be a little different. It's going to be this create item event. So this will happen every time an item is added to the items list, which is every time the go button is pressed. It'll take a second to trigger, but when it does trigger, we'll get information about what has happened. So snap.data contains the object that was written. So what we can do for our hello world is just say console.log hello world at, and then we can pass it the date that we gave it. So new value dot date. So that'll be the date that we wrote here, because we added date to the items. So this object is what will be represented by new value here. Okay, and with that, I believe we have everything we need to have this work now. So I'm going to run ngserve again. Alright, so let's try this out. I'm going to press the go button. It logged go. Now let's go check out our Firebase app. So in the database, oh, maybe we need to create a database first. So yeah, I probably need to press that button first, create database. I'm going to start it in test mode, which enables all permissions. So like this will work for testing, but for a production app you'll want to write your own Firebase rules. Alright, yeah, it looks like back on our site we got this error here. So the error says that we don't have permissions, and that makes sense because we didn't even create the database yet. So now that the database is created here, we'll try that again. So we'll clear this error out and press go once again. Then I'll refresh the Firebase console. Okay, so there's our item with the date. So it's July 21st today. So that looks great. Now let's go and see if our functions worked. Oh, whoops, I forgot to deploy the functions. Okay. So the way functions work is you write the functions in this index file, but in order to like actually deploy your functions so that they're running on the Firebase server, I'm going to run Firebase deploy -- only functions. Alright, so that's all done. So now I'm going to go back and try once again to press the go button. Okay, so we pressed it again. So now we should see another object in the database. There it is, there's our second one. Going back to the functions, now I'm going to go and click on logs. And there we go, there's our hello world. Looks like we had an error because a function is supposed to return a promise so that it can know when it's completed. But, I mean, that doesn't really matter for us. Like, normally you would have it do something asynchronous, but for us we're just having it log something, so that's fine. Alright, let's do another one just for fun. Let's see how long it takes to execute. So I'm going to press go. And I'm not going to edit out any video here, so go back here and we'll see how long it takes to print the next one. I guess while we're waiting for this, I can talk about, oh, there we go, it's done. So that took a couple of seconds, probably like 5 seconds. So yeah, there we go. It says hello world at this time. So our app is fully working now. It's very simple, but I hope this helps open your eyes to like what Firebase functions can do. Like basically you can have events for like someone can hit an HTTP endpoint, or like writing to the database, or uploading an image. Like anything in your app, you can have something trigger based on that. Like you can use this for payments, like secure payments. So like if someone clicks, I want to buy something from your site, then you can use like a Stripe checkout system. So you ask them to provide their information, you send that information to your backend, and then on the backend you make the purchase so that the user can't tamper with any of that information, like such as like changing the price, or like changing the amount of like credits that they'll get, or something like that. And then so your backend contacts Stripe, verifies the information, comes back, and then like you're able to complete the purchase for the user. So that's another case. You could have like a messaging system where someone comments on someone else's profile, the person gets notified. Any sort of like background task, that can all happen through functions. It's also a great way to make sure that code is secure, because the user can't tamper with the code that's executing on the backend. So hope that gives you guys an idea of what Firebase functions can do. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did. Let me know if you guys are interested in more videos about Firebase functions. Maybe we can do some more complex examples. Yeah, so subscribe if you guys haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next video.